Alex, W7FTM, along with Vicky, K8VKY. We will be your net control for this Saturday Night Trivia Net number 109. This is a direct net, so all traffic should go through net control. Does anyone have any emergency traffic they were holding until the start of the net? If so, please come out. If you do have an emergency at any time during the net, just say break, break, identify yourself, and we will come to your assistance immediately. The format of the net is live trivia. One random question we read over the air to each person who checks in. You'll have 3 answers to select from. And the question of the night is, what fictional world or place would you like to visit? Fictional world or place you would like to visit. Let me switch over here and see who's checked in so far via the text line and email. We have KJ6ARR, German George in Scottsdale. He came in via email and got his question correct. We have JR2FJI, George in Kawagoe, Japan. KK7HLB, Dave in Portland. N6MOT, Little Island, Monterey, California. KN6MIK, Mike in San Diego. KF6HDJ, Brent via the text line in Pensacola, Florida. KK7AVK, Victoria in Phoenix. KI7ZRI, Don in Kennewick, Washington. And I think everyone else is via the text line. KK7NXV, Timothy in Tillamook, Oregon. N5ZUA, Steve in Houston. N7FGP, Scott in Houston. KC2JPQ, Frank in Lancaster, New York. VK2GY, Robert in Kelly Ridge, Australia. Up here. And we have KI7LAG, Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon. N8WQ, Brad in Cincinnati. K8BYU, Roy in Blasdell, New York. K4MMX, Craig in Oakland Park, Florida. KN6JLW, 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 KN6JLX. Stephanie and Larry in Elk Grove, California. KD6DIR, West in Grants Pass, Oregon. And W2AJR, Andy in Cheektowaga, and hopefully I did that without tying anybody out. Once again, question of the night, what fictional world or place would you like to visit? And going to the top of the list, we have George in Kawagoe, Japan. If he was able to connect tonight, JR2FJI.
Howdy, Alex. Yes, I am able to connect this time. Now, what is your question? Go ahead.
Well, first off, the question of the night is, what fictional world or place would you like to visit? Fictional world. If you had your druthers, where would you like to go?
Oh, what fictional world? I'm going many places here and there. Really, it's difficult. It's a good question, but difficult to answer. I don't know. Maybe fictional world. There's nothing fictional here. On the moon, some mysterious places on the moon or on Mars. I don't know. Here on Earth, it's more or less all the same. Over to you.
All right, got you down for Amazon Women on the Moon here. It could be. I mean, it might be hiding. All right, George, your question is, the 1999 Disney movie Tarzan takes place in Africa. However, these animals, found only in Madagascar, are seen throughout the animated film. What animals are we talking about? Was it A, the meerkats, B, warthogs, or C, lemurs?
Well, if you're good with animals, sounds good. I have no idea about all those animals. But I mean, Madagascar is more or less Africa. I mean, at least I would consider it Africa, it's just like beside it. It's like the United States and Hawaii, Hawaii is Hawaii the United States? Well, yeah, it is, but could be also considered something else. What animal? Gee, I have no idea. They all sound so exotic. I'll go with B this time. Thanks for doing the net as always. 7-3. Yeah, to STI 411. Back to net control.
Well, you brought up Madagascar and the lemurs first, so we'll get it's the lemurs. Yeah, the lemurs. They're only in Madagascar, and you're right, it's close to Africa, but there's enough separation there that several species develop along their own lines in Madagascar, so that's it. Disney put lemurs in the Tarzan movie. It's supposed to be in Africa. Well, at least they didn't try to introduce us to Tarzan's cousin. Who was that, Jungle Jim? Yeah. Thanks, George. Glad you could make it. Dave in Portland, KK7HLD. Fictional world, a place you'd like to visit there, Dave?
A place I'd like to visit. Probably, I don't know, Japan. Maybe Germany, Czechoslovakia, where my relatives are from. Probably, yeah. How are you doing this fine morning? Back to you. Evening. Back to you.
Yeah, George is the morning. Well, actually, it's about noon right now, I think, over there in Japan. You're up. All right, Dave, your question is, the classic animated Christmas movie, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, almost featured Rudolph without a red nose due to a focus group's belief that it would A, remind people of sickness, B, remind people of communism, or C, remind people of alcoholism. What were they afraid of with Rudolph having a red nose?
Ooh, that's a tough one depending on the year, but I'm just going to go for alcoholism. As always, thank you and your wonderful blogger for the great net, KK7HLD.
Yeah, communism would have been likely. That's why I threw that in there, because of when it came out in the years in 19 in the 40s. Anyway, but you're right. It's C. They almost didn't give Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer a red nose because it reminded people of alcoholism. The focus group pointed out that a red nose was often connected to alcoholism, which almost killed the idea. So, you know you're an alcoholic when the bartender knows your name, and you've never even been to that bar before, so thank you. Thank you, Dave. Little Al in Monterey, California, N6 MOT. Little Al, what fictional world or place would you like to visit? Little Al is dreaming of a fictional place right now. Little Al, N6 MOT. One more time, N6 MOT. Little Al in Monterey, California. All right, well, maybe later. Mike, what fictional world or place would you like to visit? Some people like Pandora from the movie Avatar, and although I'm not sure that would be a place I'd want to visit, but a lot of people
Alex. Always a pleasure. KN6MIK, Mike here in San Diego. Well, whether it was real or not, I think I'd like to give Atlantis a go. Go ahead. Hit me, brother.
The continent Atlantis was an island that lay before. Anyway, your question is, George Takei, best known as Lieutenant Sulu from the original Star Trek series, also appeared in these early films. A. Rodan, Gigantus, and Godzilla Raids Again. B. The Seven Samurai and the Purple Flower of Tokyo. Or C. Forbidden Planet, The Day the Earth Stood Still, and Mars Needs Men, if you know what I mean. Which those movies did George Takei appear in before Star Trek?
No, Alex, I think I'm going to go dead center. Give me a B, Bravo. KN6MIK. Back to you.
Well, if he could have got a gig in the Seven Samurai, that would have been... I think he probably would have been too young, though. Anyway, maybe not. No, it was... Lieutenant Sulu did a bunch of Godzilla movies before he did Star Trek, Rodan, Gigantus, and Godzilla Raids Again, amongst others. So that's his early career. So. Got a break in Star Trek. Yeah, I was such a big Trek fan when I was younger. I used to work out at the He's Dead gym, which is not a very good name for an exercise gym. Thanks. You might just go to Brent in Pensacola, Florida, KO6 HTJ. Brent, which fictional world or place would you like to visit?
Well, good evening, Alex, Vicky, and the rest of the Trivia Net. Well, the Bat Cave, of course. Back to you for your question, or my question, is KF6HDJ.
All right, Brent, your question is, do they have Jack in the Box in Florida? Yeah, pretty sure they do. A Jack in the Box restaurant chain once tried offering Frings, F-R-I-N-G-S, on its menu, a combination of French fries and onion rings. The idea failed after customers complained that A, there weren't enough French fries, B, there weren't enough onion rings, or C, there wasn't any blue crystal meth in the meal. What did they complain about, Brent?
For some reason, you always get me right with my note IDs. And they don't have Jack in the Box in Florida, unfortunately. I miss the restaurant, especially the tacos. Oh, boy. I would think the onion rings would take up most of the space. They probably complained that there wasn't any fries, but of course, Florida, it might be the crystal meth. But I'm going to go with Alpha, KF6HDJ.
Well, you're on the right track. It was, actually, the people complained there weren't enough onion rings. So what they were doing was putting more fries and onion rings in there, because I guess the onion rings cost a little bit more, and people were saying, hey, what is this? There's not enough onion rings. So, and of course, the blue crystal meth reference was to Breaking Bad and Gus Fring. And if you saw the AMC series, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, thanks. No Jack in the Boxes in Florida. That'd be a prime market for that restaurant. Thanks. I know you're from California. Thanks, Brent. Victoria in Phoenix, Arizona, KK7AVK. What fictional world or place would you like to visit? One of those places you draw on your rocks and other artwork?
Good evening, Alex. This is Victoria, KK7AVK. The fictional place I would want to visit would be where Coraline lives, which is one of my favorite stop-motion animation movies. So that would be the Pink Palace with the other world, where she enters the other world. Go ahead with the other question.
Right, the Outer Worlds of, was it
Coraline, and she corrects everyone. Everyone calls her mistakenly Caroline in the movie.
Okay, I have heard of it. I haven't seen it, but I have heard of it. Coraline, you got it. And your question is, friends and family who pressure you into being happy will usually make you A, want to murder them, B, less happy, or C, happy eventually. What does people pressuring you into being happy make you?
I want to go with Bravo, just because nobody can force you to be happy, so let's try Bravo. Thank you. Have a great evening. KK780K, back to Net.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly like you said, you can't pressure people into being happy. Yes, friends and family pressure you into being happy all the time will usually make you be less happy. Accepting unpleasant emotions is beneficial in the long run and makes you stronger and more able to be cheerful in the future. Again, this sounds like I'm doing Dr. Phil here, but that's what people think. That's what the experts say. Thank you, Victoria. This is W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, going next to Don in Kennewick, Washington. KI7ZRI. Don, fictional world or place you would like to visit?
Well, hey there, Alex, and everyone on net. Don, KI7ZRI. Dorothy and I, we would like to visit Nintendo's Mario World.
Mario World, okay. It's not a ride at California Disneyland. Oh wait, that's outside the park. Oh, Mario World. Okay, I got it. Thanks for that correction, Vicky. Your question, Don and Dorothy, is actor Harrison Ford got that scar on his chin after crashing A, the Millennium Falcon while trying to escape an Imperial cruiser, B, his airplane while trying to rescue a stranded hiker, or C, his car while trying to put his seatbelt on while he was driving. How did Harrison Ford get that scar on his chin?
We're going to go with the mundane tonight. Let's go with Charlie. Thanks for doing that there, Alex. KI7ZRI.
Yeah, when that happens. Yeah, he was trying to put his seatbelt on while he was driving and crashed into a pole. That's how he got the scar on his chin long before he got famous. So, oh well, after he got famous and he could crash his airplane. That's another story. Hey, thanks guys. Appreciate you being there. Let's go to Timothy in Tillamook, Oregon, KK7NXV. What fictional world or place would you like to visit there, Tim?
Speaking of Harrison Ford, I would go for the 1982 version of Blade Runner. KK7NXV, back to Net.
You know, I was going to bring that up. Actually, the original version or the director's cut, because the original version had some interesting language in it in the narration. But yeah, it's depressing enough just to be interesting to visit. Of course, you could always go to San Francisco. Oh, never mind. All right, your question, Tim, is the Philippines banned actor Alec Baldwin from entering the country because A, he got away with manslaughter, B, he's a disgusting human being, or C, he made a joke about getting a mail-order bride from the Philippines. Why did they ban him from the Philippines?
Can I go for option D, all of the above? But if I cannot, I will go for Charlie.
Yeah, that's it. He made a joke about getting a mail-order bride from the Philippines. Now, to his credit, I'm kind of defending on this one. It was just a joke, but yeah, they got kind of upset. The government of the Philippines were not amused. Apparently, they don't like exporting their women, and yeah, I can understand it. Thanks, thank you, Tim. Steve in Houston, N5ZUA, fictional world or place you would like to visit, Steve?
Oh, hi, Alex. Sorry, I was distracted. I was just busy
filling out an online job application for the CEO position at the company Astronomer. The planet Vulcan, of course, from Star Trek, because I would like to live long and prosper. Ready for a question?
Now, Steve, this is why you should leave the humor to the net controller and not the participant. Yeah, I do. I hear they do have an opening. Lord, that's pretty embarrassing. All right, your question is, what is the Richat structure? The Richat structure, R-I-C-H-A-T. A, the way molecules congregate when electrical force is applied to them. B, a 30-mile wide feature in the Sahara Desert that looks like a giant eye from space. Or C, a storage shed I erected in my backyard to block the view of my nosy neighbor, Monica Richat. Which of those is a Richat structure?
Wasn't that Monica Lewinsky? Let's go with answer B. Bravo. Why not? I don't have a clue. N5ZUA. Thanks.
Of course, it might be a French name and I'm mispronouncing it. Recall. Anyway, it's the R-I-C-H-A-T structure, and you're correct. A 30-mile wide feature in the Sahara Desert that looks like a giant eye from space. Astronauts used to use it as a landmark when they pass over it. And by the way, answer C is also true. I just changed the neighbor's name, and she would probably sue me for talking about her on the air. Thanks, Steve. Scott in Houston, N7 FGP. What fictional world or place would you like to visit, Scott?
Well, good evening, Alex. Thank you for doing the net. Thank you, Vicki, for logging. I was going to say Atlantis, but Mike already said that, so I'm going to go with Bikini Bottom. Check in on SpongeBob and Patrick. Ready for a question?
Long can you tread water? I guess you need a diving. Well, fictional, so you can do whatever you want. Your question is, hang on a second. That bright yellow paint used for early school buses, A, came from Army surplus warehouses. B, was the same paint used to paint double yellow lines on highways. Or C, causes genetic mutations in cancer in children. What about that bright yellow paint used in the early school buses there, Scott?
Let's go with Charlie on that. Thanks for doing the net tonight. N7FGP.
Oh, Scott, that's terrible to think that they would use paint that is harmful to children in the... Of course it was, yeah. It was a kind of chromium paint that's toxic to humans. So, yeah, I hope that's changed in most of them now. But, I fell asleep on a school bus once when I was younger. And needless to say, they fired me and I couldn't work as a bus driver anymore. But probably for the best. Frank in Lancaster, New York, KC2, JPQ. How you doing, Frank? What fictional world or place would you like to visit?
Good evening, Alex, and everybody on the Trivia Net. I'd like to visit the octopus's garden that the Beatles sing about, and I'm ready for my question.
Octopus's Garden in the one of the better Ringo songs, maybe I would say. Thank you, Frank. The question is the common glaze used on pottery used to contain A, lead, B, uranium, or C, Native American petroglyphs. What did the old pottery glaze used to have in it?
Why do you always give me the easy one? I have no clue. I'm going to go with Charlie. Have a great week, Alice. I'll talk to you next week. KC2JPQ.
Well, I tell you, Frank, I didn't know this either. It was uranium. The common glaze they used to use on pottery contained uranium, B, because uranium oxide was used from 1920 to 1940 to give color to the glaze and seal the ceramic. And not being a pot spinner, I would not know that. And anyway, thanks, Frank. I'm glad you could play. You don't miss them too often. That's a good word, obscure one to do it. All right, Robert in Kelly Ridge, Australia, VK2DY. What fictional world or place would you like to visit? Oh, wait a minute. You're in Australia already.
Good afternoon, Alex. This is Robert, VK2DY. Well, you know, I'm a big fan of the Star Trek Strange New Worlds that just debuted their third season on Paramount Plus. I love Anson Mount's portrayal of Captain Place in his lounge, and of course Nurse Chapel is played by an Australian, and she's pretty hot. So definitely going to go with Captain Pike's Enterprise, VK2DY. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I think I like that one better too, come to think of it. Oh, I think Jeffrey Hunter was a better actor. Yeah, it's up for debate. You're up. Okay, your question is, in 2003, California resident Vincent Brothers flew to Ohio to visit a relative, then immediately rented a car and drove back to California, only to find when he arrived that his family had been murdered. However, police were able to prove that Brothers was the killer after they found this on his rental car. What they find on his rental car? A GPS tracking device used by the rental car agency. B, the tires did not have enough wear for a 1,700-mile trip from Ohio. Or C, the dead insects on the windshield are all species found only in western states. What did they hang Vincent Brothers with?
You know, that one is just odd enough to be true. So let's go with that one, VK2DY.
Yeah, very good. You know that, of course, in 2003, not too many rental car agencies had tracking devices on their cars, I don't believe. And the tires was somewhat believable, but it was the dead insects on the windshield, or all species found only in western states, proving that the rental car had never left California. And that's what you call good detective work. Thanks. Thank you, Robert. Got you down. Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon, KI7LAG. Fictional world or place you'd like to visit? Patrick.
Good evening, Alex. This is Patrick, KI7LAG. Well, here is a new one for you. I wouldn't mind visiting Middle Earth. You know, you can go see the hobbits, you can go see the elves, and you can grab a sword and go storm Mordor. Go ahead with your question.
Did you see the hashtag that Switzerland was using for the hobbits for a while there online? They put hobbits and then, CH for the country. Switzerland's initial and said hobbitch. Is kind of funny. They didn't realize, of course. All right, your question is Jeopardy style. Here we go. The answer is $440 million. The answer is $440 million. A, how much do Americans spend every year dressing up their pets for Halloween? B, how much do Americans spend every year on snack food? Or C, how much do Americans donate every year to their churches? Now, Patrick, any one of those, well, except for maybe one of them, could probably be true. What do you say?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna go with A, alpha, KI7LAG, back to net.
But it's hard to believe. Yeah, $440 million Americans spend dressing up their pets for Halloween. That's 16% of Americans that dress up their pets. Pumpkin is the most popular costume, if you're wondering. So you might want to get your dog or cat a different costume just to be unique. Thank you, Patrick. The W7 FTM in Casa, Arizona, along with Vicky, K8VKY in Michigan, and you're listening to the SWL Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector, going next to Brad in Cincinnati. N8QQ, welcome back, Brad. Which fictional world or place would you like to visit?
Well, good evening to you, Alex, and to Vicky, and everybody on the net. I'm gonna say maybe nicer cities in Game of Thrones, like Old Town as opposed to Newtown. In Westeros, with the Citadel, where all the Meisters would hang out and learn stuff, and the huge library and a temperate climate, which all sounds good to me. Always seem pretty inviting. Back to you.
Well, Brad, that's an appropriate choice, because here's your question. Those so-called dragons in the Game of Thrones TV series are actually A, dinosaurs, B, wyverns, or C, the larva stage of a politician. What do you think?
C is obviously a fun answer, so I'm going to say B, Bravo. N8QQ, back to net.
No, Brad, they were actually the larva stage of a politician. No, you're right. It's wyverns. They're wyverns. Wyverns have 2 legs. Dinosaurs have 4 legs. That's how you tell them apart. So if you ever see one, you'll know the difference. Thank you. Thank you, Brad. You got it, buddy. Let's go to it's the N6 MOT, Little Al in Monterey. I think he may have made it back. Are you with us, Little Al?
Affirmative. I'm here. I don't know what happened. I guess I lost my node, but it's up and running now. So I'm ready for the question of the night and my question.
Hi, buddy. What fictional world or place would you like to visit? Is the question of the night.
Oh, fictional world. I can't remember the name of it. Where the Smurfs live. I can't remember the name. It's been so long. I'd like to be like where Papa Smurf is hanging out. You know what I mean?
The Smurfville, Smurfland. Somebody will know. Anyway, we got you down for the Smurf Village. Your question is, Apple founder Steve Jobs did not allow his children to have these in the house. A, computers with Microsoft software. B, iPads, or C, shoes. Uh-oh, any one of those could be possible. What do you think? Well,
you know, any one of them could be possible, but I'm going to go with C, shoes, just for the heck of it, because that seems to be, well, I don't know if it's right or wrong. Anyway, I'm going to go with shoes, C. N6 MOT, 73 guys, thank you.
I put that in there because he was a vegan and probably didn't allow his children that. And come to think of it, now I'm going to have to vet that to be sure. But no, he wouldn't allow them to have iPads in the house. Yeah. He thought his invention was too addictive for children, so he didn't allow his kids to have iPads. So, all his big kids have them, but anyway, thanks, buddy. Glad you can make it. Let's go to Roy in Blasdell, New York. K8 BYU. Roy, what fictional world or place would you like to visit?
Everybody on the net.
guys want to go visit Prince T'Challa in Wakanda from the Marvel series. Visit the Black Panther. That would be kind of cool. What's the question?
And let me ask you a question. What was the name of that place again? Slowly. Don't do it phonetically. Just slowly so I can copy it down. You went there to visit real quick just to check. Okay, we'll figure it out later. Roy, your question is, hopefully you're still connected, the first hamburger came from A, pig meat, B, beef fat, or C, a smashed meatball. What was the first hamburger?
I'm going to go with Charlie. And maybe what they did with it. And yeah, that's Wakanda. It's the fictional area that where Captain America's shield came from with the vibranium metal that was mined there. Back to you.
Okay, sound like the name of a girl I used to date in high school, but that's, I think it's the same. All right, you got you down. You got Wakanda, and you are correct. Yeah, the first hamburger came from C, a smashed meatball. Food vendor Charlie the Green sold flattened meatballs at the 1885 Seymour Fair in Wisconsin, but they didn't sell very well until he got the idea to put them between two slices of bread, making them easier to carry around. And voila, the first hamburger. Didn't come from Hamburg, Germany. It was a smashed meatball. Thanks, Rory. You got it, buddy. Craig, Oakland Park, Florida, K4 MMX. What fictional world or place would you like to visit?
Good evening, everyone. That would be Westworld, which was an HBO TV series.
First time I used pixelated graphics in a movie, by the way, went to the eye of Yul Brynner. Your question is, a zoo in the United Kingdom is using this to help their flamingos breed in captivity. A, nude photos of singer Pink. Looks for me. B, country western music. Or C, mirrors. What are they using in the UK to help their flamingos breed in captivity?
I'm going to go with Charlie on that one, C. K4 MMX Spec QX.
Yep, mirrors on the ceiling and everywhere else. Yeah, the mirrors make it look like there are more flamingos in the enclosure, and the birds don't like to breed unless there's a bunch of other flamingos around. Apparently it's a group thing. I think so. Thank you, Craig. Stephanie and Larry in Elk Grove, California. KN6JLW, KN6JLX. Which fictional world or place would you guys like to visit?
Hi Alex, this is Stephanie, KN6JLW, and Larry, KN6JLX. He says the island of Dr. Moreau, and I'll go to the island of Misfit Toys. Go ahead.
Into the island thing I see there. Okay, just stay away from Epstein Island. I don't have to warn you about that. All right, your question, guys, is sexually rejected fruit flies. Fruit flies we're talking about. Sexually rejected fruit flies will do this. A, drink more alcohol. B, go back to the gym and work out harder. Or C, fetch the female fruit fly flowers. Say that 3 times fast. What do you think?
Right, Larry is going with Alpha, and I'll go with Charlie. Have a good week, Alex. Thanks for the net.
The kilowatt wasn't 2 seats of Monzo on the channel.
They get the alcohol from fermented fruit, and they drink more of it than their non-rejected peers. So, see there, guys? We have something in common with flies, other than we're attracted to garbage. So thanks, Stephanie and Larry. Glad you guys can make it. Let's go to Wes in Grants Pass, Oregon, KD6 EIR. Which fictional world or place would you like to visit there, Wes?
My fictional world I would like to visit is Narnia. C.S. Lewis. All you have to do is push through a bunch of furs and a wardrobe, and you wind up there, and there's talking animals. I think that would be extremely cool. So I thought about Tolkien's, Middle Earth, the Shire and Hobbiton and all that kind of stuff, but kind of like the idea of the talking animals. Back to you.
Yeah, Narnia it is. I understand the authors had a kind of a friendly battle going on there with their stories, very similar to one another. But anyway, your question is, King Tut was buried with a dagger that was made from A, solid gold, B, diamond, C, a meteorite.
What was the middle? What was Bravo? The substance?
Diamond.
Ooh, that's a hard one. Gold wouldn't be much good for a dagger. Kind of soft. Diamond would be great, but I don't know how you get one that big. Let's go with meteorite. It's just weird enough to be the answer. Go ahead. KD6EIR.
And you thought that went through quickly, Wes. That's a meteorite. And here's the odd thing. The Egyptians didn't have the technology to craft a weapon from meteorite debris, so it may have come from a more advanced civilization. The continent of Atlantis was or it was left behind by space aliens. They're not sure which, but it's still unexplained. So. Thanks. Thank you, Wes. Got you down. Let's go to Andy in Cheektowaga, New York. W2AJR. Fictional world or place you would like to visit, Andy? W2AJR, Andy in Cheektowaga.
Good evening, Alex. What's the Whiskey 2 Alpha Julia Romeo? Is it my turn?
You're up, Andy. The pressure's on. First of all, which fictional world or place would you like to visit?
Nerd, so I'm going to say Hogwarts.
Hogwarts it is. You know that... No, I can't tell that joke in here. All right, people can figure it out, though. Your question is, how does a mosquito get its proboscis under your skin to suck your blood? A, the tip of the proboscis is extremely pointed. B, there are 47 tiny razor-sharp teeth on the end of the proboscis. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Or C, Its saliva contains an acidic and analgesic compound that dissolves your skin without your feeling it. How do those pesky mosquitoes suck your blood there, Andy?
Analgesic compound, it ain't working on me because I feel every one of them. I don't know, I'm going to go with B, Alex.
How'd you know that, Andy? Because I just thought they just had a really sharp proboscis. No, it's, there are 47 tiny razor-sharp teeth on the end of the proboscis. You can't need a magnifying, well, actually, you probably need a microscope to see them, but that's how they do it. Thank you, Andy. Teresa, College Station, Texas, KU5, MUX, which fictional world or place would you like to visit? Of course, if you're still doing the Renaissance fairs, you already visit those places quite often, but what say you, Teresa?
This is KE5MUX, and indeed I have visited, what do they call that now? New Market quite many times, but as far as more commonly known, as much as I'd like to join Steve in the land of Star Trek, I think I'm going to go with Rivendell. What's my question, Alex?
Riverdale? Okay, correct me if I got that wrong. Your question is another Jeopardy question. You ready for this? The answer is 100,000 years. 100,000 years. A, how long ago did the last woolly mammoth die? B, how long does it take for a photon to travel the sun's core to the sun's surface, from the sun's core to the sun's surface? Or C, how long does it take for the state of California to issue the building permits to residents after a devastating wildfire? Which of those is the correct question?
Let's see. Well, I would like to believe that they can manage C's just a little faster, although I'm sure it feels that long. I think I'm going to go with A, and Alex, it was Rivendell, where Elrond lives. Elrond. Oh, Tolkien, help me out. 730 KE5MUX.
Yeah, Vicky figured it out. Yeah, Rivendell, and I thought you were talking about Archie's hometown, but I like to visit there too. That was a simpler, better time. Although they did draw Veronica and Betty identical just for the haircut. I digress. Actually, it was 100,000 years is B. How long does it take for a photon to travel from the sun's core to the sun's surface? And it may seem kind of odd, but photons are made in the dense core of the sun, and it takes thousands of years for them to go through all the layers and escape into space. So, don't wait up for them. Thanks, Teresa. All right, let's go to Todd in the Redstone Arsenal, Alabama. It is Alabama, yeah. KN0L. LZE, Todd. So what fictional world or place would you like to visit?
KN0LZE, this is Todd from Redstone Arsenal. Fictional location that I would like to visit would be Narnia. Seems like there's a lot of activity there, 4 seasons, a lot of topography. Seems like a reasonable place to stay for a spell, experience the adventure.
Yeah, you wouldn't get bored. I haven't read the books. I must admit, I saw the movies. Some of the movies, not the books, but yep, that would be an interesting place. Your question, Todd. Well, Todd, you get the Weird News Trivia Question of the Week. I like to do at least one of these, and you get 4 choices on these instead of 3. There's 4 possible answers. So here's the Weird News Trivia Question of the Week. Which of the following headlines was a real news story from this week? A, Trump announces that Mexican Coca-Cola will now be made in America. B. Jeffrey Epstein tells Fox News there is no conspiracy during live interview from Tel Aviv. C. Water rescue for person in canal turns out to be a blow-up doll. Or D. Department of Justice announces they have arrested man responsible for creating Microsoft OneDrive. Thank God. What do you think, Tom? Maybe that was too much information. So have you talked?
Charlie will be the blow-up doll rescue.
Everybody, we doubled again. Come back.
My answer would be C. Charlie, the rescue of the blow-up doll.
Get toyed with the others, huh? Yeah, you got it. Yeah. The Reduced Trivia of the Week is a water rescue for person in canal turns out to be a blow-up doll. In Fresno, California, a water rescue call for a person in a canal Tuesday turned out to be a blow-up doll. Someone called 911 to report a person stuck in a canal. Fresno police and firefighters arrived only to find what looked like a body being held by rushing water against a grate was just a blow-up sex doll. Yeah. No word on if the doll was reunited with her family. That's all I got. Thank you, Todd. Let's go over to Kevin in Portland, Oregon, K7K, one of our facilitators. How you doing, Kevin? What fictional world or place would you like to visit? The Zoom chat room?
Hey, good evening, Alex. I'll be curious how Vicky manages to log this one, but I guess this is a fictional place, unfortunately, but I'd like to visit a place where we don't fight as a human race and people just get along. I think we've got more in common than the differences that we seem to be divisive. What's my question, bud?
I would agree with you on that, and we're getting there. It's going to be long, yes. I think we're getting there. All right, Kevin, your question is, okay, match the joke to the female comedian. Now, I did male comedians last week. I got 3 of these tonight. I'm going to tell you the joke, and you're going to tell me which female comedian came up with it. Okay, here's the first one. I have no sex appeal, and it screwed me up for life. Peeping Toms look into my window and pull down the shade. My gynecologist examines me by telephone. How was that? A. Joan Rivers, B. Roseanne Barr, or C. Jane Curtin? What do you think, Kevin?
Belong on the repeater.
I think I'll go with B on that one, Alex. Thank you very much, KE7K.
Yeah, you would think it'd be a possibility. Yeah, that was Joan Rivers, the late great Joan Rivers. I dared to mention that Michelle Obama was anyway. Well, we won't go there either. Yeah, she came up. It's pretty funny. Thank you. David, Owensboro, Kentucky, W9, DWH. How you doing, David? What fictional world or place would you like to visit?
Good evening, Alex and everyone. And you know, Coldplay hasn't released a single in years, but just recently they made 2. I would say Hogwarts. I've got a 70-mile round-trip commute to work and back, and I can just make my own gas. You know, I can just throw out my wand and say, expecto. And I'll never ride with Ron Weasley again either. He ran into that tree because it didn't deploy the air brakes.
Thank you for those observations, David. And Okay, your question is match the joke to the female comedian number 2, and hopefully I won't offend anybody with this. Okay. Some people think having large bosoms makes a woman stupid. Actually, it's quite the opposite. A woman having a large bosom makes men stupid. Who is that A, Phyllis Diller, B, Rita Redner, or C, Dolly Parton?
I'm not sure, but that kind of sounds like something Phyllis Diller might have said back in the day, so we'll guess Alpha. And appreciate you doing the net every week, Alex, and look forward to seeing everybody next week. W9, anyway.
Yeah, she's a classic, wasn't she? It's, well, that was Rita Rudner, yeah, one of the ones that came later. You would think Dolly Parton, but no, it wasn't her. So, and by the way, David, you know what you call a beautiful large bosom woman on the arm of a ham radio operator? A tattoo. Thanks, David. Chris in Hollywood, Florida, KQ4 UPK. Chris, what fictional world place would you like to visit?
I would have to say, first let me say hi to everybody on the net. Hi Vicky and Alex, thank you for doing the net. I would have to say Pandora at night, heavily armed and protected.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I would want to go there, especially animals you're not sure what they're going to do. All right, got you down for Pandora, Chris. And your question, last one of these, match the joke to the female comedian, number 3. I used to carry a rabbit's foot for luck. Then it was a monkey's paw. Now it's a camel's toe. A, Amy Shaver. B, Rosie O'Donnell. C, Christian Shaw. What do you think, Chris?
I'm going to say Rosie O'Donnell.
Well, if it fits, you should wear, Christian Shaw. Now, I haven't heard of this young woman before. She's one of the new comedians. But now that's a pretty funny joke, and I'm going to have to be following her more. She comes on with a kind of a deadpan type. You have to see the act and look her up on YouTube. It's Kristen with a K and SCHAAL. Thank you, Chris. All right, W7 FCM in Scottsdale, Arizona, going next. The last one on this list, and we're going to have some March Higgins. Joe in Franklin, Georgia. KQ4 YYN. Joe. Get ahead of myself. What fictional world or place would you like to visit?
Hey, Alex, thank you. I feel like I'm on Hollywood Squares a little bit. The Millennium Falcon from Star Wars, but an updated one. One that would go, 75 parsecs, so which means faster than they ever thought they could go in Star Wars. That's what I'd like to do, but yes, sir, that'd be pretty neat. I'll be the driver, though. KQ4 YYN.
Like the Men in Black movies. I'm going to drive. All right, Joe, that's a pretty good choice, actually, yeah. Your question is, what is cherry blowing? What is cherry blowing, just the way it sounds? A, getting excess water off cherry trees by using helicopters. B, smoking a crack pipe that's concealed in their shirt pockets. Or C, destroying a toilet by flushing a cherry bomb down it. Another one with any of those could be true. What do you think, Joe?
So this turd is a serial road rager, and he's about to get exactly what's coming.
My answer is A, Alpha. A.
Nathaniel is 36 when the war starts, living in California, and bro is just an angry dude.
How on earth did you know that? Do they grow cherries in Georgia? I think so. I thought they were northwest. Anyway, that's cherry blowing. is getting excess water off cherry trees by using helicopters to blow dry them. I never heard of it before. Cultivated cherries are easily damaged by water, so growers use helicopters to blow off extra moisture after it rains. The process is known as cherry blowing. I know some people out there hoping it'd be something else, but that's it. Thank you, Joe. All right, we have another text line checking. James in Spring, Texas, AA5JW. Which fictional world or place would you like to visit?
Well, good evening, Alex and Vicki. Thanks y'all for running the net tonight. This is Alpha Alpha 5 Juliet Whiskey James in Spring. And that's a good question. I think I would like to go to Oz. Just it'd be a little weird, and maybe I'd get to meet the wizard. What kind of question do you got for me tonight, Alex?
And just watch out for those poppies outside the Emerald City, or I don't know, maybe you want to visit the poppies, or yeah, it's the HBO version. No, you probably don't want to go to that one. All right, James, your question is: secret Morse code messages were sent during World War II using this medium. A, breakfast cereal boxes, B, knitted fabrics, or C, citizen band radios.
Wow, I have no clue whatsoever, Alex. I don't know. Let's go with Citizens Band Radio, but if it's the fabric, I'm going to be very disappointed in myself. It's 7-3 and back to you. Alpha Alpha 5 Juliet Whiskey.
Don't worry about it, James. I did not know this either. No, they sent secret Morse code messages in World War II using knitted fabrics. Yeah, to the casual onlooker, it didn't look like anything, but the dots and dashes were concealed in the stitches of the clothing, and they would send them. It got to the point when they became aware of it that countries banned the export of fabrics because they didn't want messages going back and forth. I think that was a little before citizen band radios, although they may have been using the frequency. 11 meters could have been possible. But anyway, thanks, James. Appreciate you checking in, buddy. And all right, taking more check-ins for the ECR Night Trivia Net. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Charlie 7, Zulu Bravo. Kilo Charlie 7, Zulu Bravo.
Whiskey Oscar 7 X-ray. Whiskey Oscar 7 X-ray.
Kilo Delta 5, Uniform November Juliet, 85 UNJ.
Whiskey Delta 8, Papa India Charlie. Whiskey Delta 8, Papa India Charlie.
Victor Kilo 3 Alpha Whiskey Alpha. Victor Kilo 3 Alpha Whiskey Alpha.
Echo Lima. Kilo India 5 Whiskey Uniform. Kilo India 5 Whiskey Uniform.
Young KT2 Delta Papa Oscar.
All right, let's hold up there. I think we picked up about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 more. We have Alan, Hillsboro, Oregon, KC7ZZB. Welcome back, John in South St. Paul, Minnesota, KC1 QPL. W07X, Joe from Portland. KD5 UNJ, Darren in Beaumont, Texas. W8PIC, Bob in Sylvania, Ohio. Welcome back, Bob. VK3AWA, Daryl in Paradise Beach, Australia. Welcome back to you too, Daryl. KQ4, LEL, Mari in DeMari, Florida. KI5WWU, Lynn in Houston, and KD2 in DPO, Tony in Jamestown, New York. Question of the night: what fictional world or place would you like to visit? And to the top is Hal in Hillsboro, Oregon, KC7 ZZB.
Alex and the rest of the net. I think I'd like to live, try to see what, if they really were that advanced, and figure out why the continent sunk. Kilo, Charlie, 7, Zulu, Zulu Bravo.
Yeah, there's all kinds of evidence pointing that direction, so it's not just weird conspiracy folks, so I agree with you on that. And your question, Hal, is bobbing for apples used to be a game about A, celebrating the apple harvest, and B, teaching people how to hold their breath underwater, or C, sex. What was bobbing for apples a game about?
Just my obstinate nature, I'm going to go for C. KC7 ZZB.
Of course, that's what it was about, Hal. Yeah, it was sex. Bobbing for apples was about sex. So floating apples were given names of young people attending the party, and the bobbers would try to take a bite out of someone they fancied. So it was kind of a flirtatious game, and in those days you had to be subtle, I guess. Nowadays they just never mind. Thank you, John. You got it. Okay. W07, I'm sorry, KC1QPL, John in South St. Paul, Minnesota, unless I didn't skip anybody, did I? Okay. Anyway, thank you. Hal. John, what fictional world or place would you like to visit?
Well, good evening, Alex. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, KC1QPL. Put me on the holodeck with 7 of 9 Star Trek Voyager. What's my question, sir? Oh, and good call on the science. I want to applaud you. It takes about 100,000 years for an electron to exit the core and be seen as daylight. What's my question?
Yeah, amazing how long it takes. So it's a Voyager fan, huh? At least they ended the series well. I mean, they could have left it hanging, but was it 2-part? Got the Borg to use the content anyway. Well, bore everybody who doesn't follow Star Trek. Your question is: a Muslim man in Scotland was caught going 35 kilometers per hour over the speed limit and faced losing his driver's license. However, he was allowed to keep the license after he explained that A, Sharia law doesn't recognize speed limits, and B, he was late for his mosque Adhan, the Muslim call to prayer, or C, he was married to 2 women, and in order to be a good husband, he needed his license to drive to and from his wife's homes. Believe it or not, John, one of those is true. Well, what do you think?
Well, it's just too ridiculous to be. I'm going to go with he had 2 wives and needed to be 2 places at once and couldn't pull it off. We'll go with Charlie, I guess.
Yep, that's what I thought. Yeah, not bad, John. Even the weird social questions you could correct. Yeah, he was married to 2 women. In order to be a good husband, he said, well, he needed to be able to drive to and from his wife's home. And the sheriff agreed with him. So, only 2 wives. Strange time all over the world. Thank you, John. Joe in Portland, W07X. Joe, which fictional world or place would you like to visit? Like Great Britain, or what do you think?
That's an interesting one. Any fictional place? I think probably New Zealand. That'd be a good one.
I've heard it's there, but I don't know. I've never seen it. Your question, Joe, is Alexander Townley, speaking of fictional places, Alexander Townley is paid by an online casino to watch this cartoon for any hint of the show predicting the future. You got all that? Which cartoon does he have to, or is he paid to watch? A, Futurama, B, The Simpsons, or C, South Park?
I'll go with Bravo, The Simpsons. That makes the most sense to me.
Really, The Simpsons makes sense to you. Yeah, you're right. Alexander Townley is paid by this online casino to sit down with a notepad and pen and write down every detail of the show from the opening credits to the ending. Now, The Simpsons has uncannily predicted several things that later came to pass, such as the Twin Towers being brought down in New York, Donald Trump being elected president, and Disney purchasing 20th Century Fox all long before they actually happened. So something's going on there. Thanks. Thank you, Joe. This is W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, going next to Darren in Beaumont, Texas, KD5UNJ. What fictional world or place would you like to visit, Darren?
Alex and everybody else on the rest of the net. I think the fictional universe I wouldn't mind visiting would be the BattleTech universe, because I mean, who doesn't like big stuffy robots? And of course, robots that do all kinds of cool stuff: missiles, guns, lasers, you name it. All the cool stuff all little boys like to play with whenever they were young. And yeah, by the way, just out of context comment here, but whenever you were mentioning the cherry boiling comment, out of the total irony, there was a helicopter flying over at the time whenever y'all talked about that. Anyway, back to you, Alex, and thanks for running the net tonight, 73. And what's my question?
Harry, your question is, Europe's largest banana plantation is located in A, Iceland, B, Germany, C, Buckingham Palace. Come on, Darren, everyone knows this one. What do you say?
Echolink KD2ZTC. Well, that question is certainly bananas. Honestly, I'm not too sure. So I'm going to have to go with Bravo. I think it's in Germany, but that's just an assumption. Back to you, Alex.
About Germany, when the Berlin Wall was up, they couldn't get decent bananas in East Germany. I think how were they? Kind of were way too far gone, black or whatever. So the first thing they did when the wall came down, a lot of the Germans come over to the West German side to get as many fresh bananas as they could, because they really missed their bananas. But that's beside the trivia question. Anyway, it's Iceland. Europe's largest banana plantation is located in Iceland. It's a greenhouse in Iceland, or is that an ice house in Greenland? Anyway, it produces around 4,000 pounds of bananas a year. Now, there's another plantation on the Canary Islands, but geographically they're in Africa and not Europe, so Iceland's greenhouse is the largest banana plantation in Europe. So that's for obscure trivia. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. D8PIC. Bob, what fictional world or place would you like to visit?
I would like to be on the holodeck of the Next Generation Star Trek. I like the original and the Next Generation. So, and by the way, sorry for last week. My body needed sleep at this time, and it probably does now, but I'm interested. I got several of these correct, but I did not know the cherry one. So that was very interesting. Anyway, go for a question. I may not know the answer, but I'm still ready for it.
Now you want to spend some time at Holodeck Risa, huh? Yeah. Don't blame you. The question, Bob, is, hang on a second, where are we? A chameleon's tongue is A, twice as long as its body, B, the fastest in the animal kingdom, or C, both A and B are correct.
I'm going to say Charlie. I have no idea, so it's a total guess, and we'll see what happens. Well, actually, you guys will see what happens. I won't.
Well, let me see. Oh, sorry, Bob. Yeah, you're correct. Yeah, the chameleon's tongue is twice as long as its body, and it's also the fastest in the animal kingdom. It would be like a human having a 10 to 12 foot long tongue. Gene Simmons not included. Thanks. Thank you, Bob. You got a buddy Daryl in Paradise Beach, Australia. VK3AWA, welcome back. And your question of the night is, what fictional world or place would you like to visit?
Good evening, Alex, Vicky, and the net. I'm going to go with Utopia, Alex. And in reference to an earlier question, it's a little known fact that flamingos like to what? Ready for my question, Alex, back to you.
Oh, yeah, we love our flamingos here in Arizona and Australia, and I shouldn't say that. Some kids might be listening and get confused. Your question, Daryl, is, yeah, you get this movie down there, too. When Marty McFly is playing Chuck Berry's Johnny Be Good on the guitar during the 1955 Enchantment Under the Sea dance and Back to the Future, something's not quite right. Is it A, Michael J. Fox can't play the guitar, and B, he's playing a Gibson guitar that wasn't invented yet, or C, he didn't smash the guitar to pieces like Chuck Berry would? Which one of those is true about that movie?
Hey, Alex.
Go ahead one more time.
Sorry, I was a bit too quick. B, Bravo, Alex.
Not bad. That's correct, actually. Of course, Chuck Berry didn't smash the guitars, at least I think he did, and Michael J. Fox can play the guitar somewhat, which is why he was able to get up there and play it, but B is correct. He's playing a Gibson guitar that wasn't invented yet while he was up there on the stage doing Johnny Be Good. The Gibson ES-345 didn't enter production until 1958. A minor continuity error considering all they could have had for a time travel movie, so that's actually not bad. Thank you, Daryl. Mari in DeBari, Florida, TQ4 LEL, welcome back to you. And what fictional world or place would you like to visit, Mari?
Good evening, Alex and all. Yeah, I would like to go to Eureka from the television series of the same name. Kind of a future Camelot. What have you got for me?
Yeah, that was kind of an entertaining series, come to think of it. So I'd have to go there myself as long as it wasn't the one in California. Your question is, John Paul Getty, or J. Paul Getty, John Paul Getty, one of the world's richest men, had this in his house. What do you have in his house? A clothesline, B, a payphone, or C, an outhouse.
I should know this, but I don't. So I'm going to say a clothesline, A. And thanks again for all the work you put into this. It's exceptionally entertaining.
And by it, like I said, it wouldn't be much of a net if nobody actually participated. No, John Paul Getty had a payphone in his house. He's super wealthy, but if people wanted to use a phone, they had to use a payphone. So, anyway, thanks. Thanks, Mario. Hope to hear you next Saturday. Let's go over to Lynn in Houston, KI5WWU. Lynn, which fictional world place would you like to visit?
And able to pull in a little bit of signal with my rubber duck, but not enough to make much of it. So spent the afternoon and day slapping together a tape measure Yagi and managed to use that to get into the simplex net from
Kilo India 5, Whiskey Uniform, Lynn in Houston. Thanks, Alex, for reaching out. I'm going to go with, you mentioned it earlier, I think, Star Trek, The Next Generation, the Pleasure Risa is what they seem to say you're supposed to pronounce it as. Risa, I can see that as well. So, ready for my question, sir?
Yeah, Risa, yeah. That's a good point, but as long as the entertainment's the same. Your question, Lynn, is which country eats the most Kraft macaroni and cheese frozen dinners than any other country in the world? A, America, of course. B, Belgium, or C, Canada.
I'm going to go with America just in light of the numbers, but it's purely a guess. Great question as always. Thanks to you and Vicki. Back to you, sir. KI5WWU.
You would think my wife certainly eats a lot of it, but it's Canada. Canada eats the most Kraft macaroni and cheese frozen dinners in the world. Yeah, they eat 55% more Kraft dinner, as they call it there, than Americans do. But they'll have to change the name when they become a 51st state. So it's okay. Thanks. Thank you, Lynn. Okay, left on the list, Tony in Jamestown, New York, KD2 DPO. Tell me, Tony, what fictional world or place would you like to visit?
I would like to go to Hawaii. Bacteria.
Hawaii and no problem, they've fictionalized that a lot. Your question is IKEA headquarters. IKEA is headquartered in A, the Netherlands, B, Norway, or C, Sweden. Once again, any of those could be possible. What do you think?
Victor Kilowatt 1, GC Tomato.
KD2 DPO, you there, Tony? A lot of pat noise, but I think I did pull out an alpha, which would be okay. Correct. Yeah, IKEA is headquartered in the Netherlands. Even though they're a Swedish company, it's for tax purposes. So the W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, along with Vicky, K8VKY in Michigan, and we're with the Saturday Night Trivia Net. Let me make sure there's nobody else on the call list, and nope, that's it. If you want to check in, full call sign, phonetically twice, please, and we'll get you a question.
This is Victor Kilowatt 1, GC Tomato. Am I making it into the network?
You're making it in very well, John. Got you down, VK1 JT. Anybody else? Full call sign, phonetically twice, please.
Kilo Juliet 5, Delta X-Ray Bravo. Kilo Juliet 5, Delta X-Ray Bravo.
Kilo Delta 3, Bravo Papa Alpha. Kilo Delta 3, Bravo Papa Alpha.
All right, let's hold up there. I have VK1 JT John in Australia and KJ5DXB Frank in Sugar Land, Texas, along with KD3 BPA Chad in Cadogan. I think it is Cadogan, Pennsylvania. Oh my God, all those right. This question of the night: which fictional world or place would you like to visit? Up to John in Hensau. I always get the name of your town wrong, John. VK1 JT. Which fictional world or place would you like to visit?
Victor Kilowatt 1, Juliet Tango, Canberra, Australia, the capital city. Just a reminder. I'd go Star Wars. I like Star Wars or Star Trek. Actually, Star Trek. Star Trek would be where I'd like to visit. I think that'd be pretty cool. And flying around the universe at faster than the speed of light. It'll never happen, but who knows? Millions of years from now, somebody might crack it. But yeah, Star Trek. That sort of environment there. Back to you.
Hey, got you down as a trekker there, John. You must live in one of those. We have Canberra. It's along those long name addresses because there's something else coming up that shouldn't, but we'll fix that. Don't worry. Your question is, what is considered? Oh, and I'm sorry. That's the next one. When a young Bill Gates was in school, he was tasked with writing the code for the program that scheduled classes. Gates altered the code to A, give himself straight A's, B, cause the computer system to crash, or C, put himself in the class with the most female students. What did he jerry-rig the code at the school computer for?
I'll go with C. I'll just take a guess and go with C there. Back to you.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think I've asked one before, and most people think it's to give them all A's, but no, he put himself in the class with the most female students, so see there, he wasn't that much of a nerd. I mean, he knew to do that. Anyway, thanks. So, yeah, he was. I'm just kidding. Thanks, John. Frank, Sugar Land, Texas, KJ5DXB. What fictional world or place would you like to visit, Frank?
Oh, KJ5DXB, good evening, Alex, Vicky, and everybody. Well, I'm going to have to go with Star Trek 2. I'd love to get on the travel and see the universe out there, and always was fascinated with how they always cook their meals, put a little pill in the
yeah, the replicators, that would be very handy, especially for my wife, because she can't. Anyway. All right, your question, Frank, is what is considered the weirdest research to ever win a Nobel Prize? The weirdest research. A, statistical outcomes of the rock, paper, scissors game. B, liquid cats. Or C, why some songs stick in our heads more than others. Yep, one of those is actually researched and won a Nobel Prize. What do you think?
Wow. I think I'll go with rock, paper, scissors. Thank you, sir.
You see, that's what I thought, and somebody should win a Nobel Prize for that, but it was liquid cats. I guess I should have mentioned this is the IG Nobel Prize, which is kind of a comedy Nobel Prize. Mark Anton Farden won the IG Nobel Prize for showing that cats must be liquid, since they can adapt their shape to whatever container they're lying in, given enough time. That's true. You ever seen a cat get in a bowl and just a shoebox? Yeah, the IG Nobel Prize is a satirical prize awarded annually since 1991 to celebrate unusual or trivial achievements in scientific research. So, yeah, kind of a true question. Sorry about that, Frank. Anyway, thanks for being here. Hope to hear you next week. Chad in Cadogan, Pennsylvania, KD3 BPA. Which fictional place or world would you like to visit?
Well, if I were still a teenager, it'd definitely be Hogwarts from Harry Potter. But those days are long past. I'm probably going to say either the Middle Earth from Lord of the Rings or the semi-fictional 1750s from Back to the Movies.
Yeah, well, Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth, and Star Trek seem to be the popular choices tonight. All right, Judge, your question is, in the comedy Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy, there's a popular Mexican food restaurant named Escupimos en su Alimento, which translates into A, the restaurant under the bridge, B, not Taco Bell, or C, we spit on your food. What's the name of that restaurant in English, Chad?
I've never seen the movie. I'm going to go with We Spit on Your Food.
I'm sorry, one more time if you could. What was your answer phonetically?
I've never seen the movie, and I don't speak Spanish, so I'm going to guess We Spit on Your Food.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy. Well, you know, it's kind of a juvenile humor anyway, but that's what it is. Thanks, Chad. All right, taking more check-ins for tonight. Trivia Net, full call sign phonetically twice, please. Okay, last call. Anybody want to check into the Saturday Night Trivia Net? And we'll get you your own special trivia question. Full call sign phonetically twice, please. tonight, let's see, how many people do we have checking in? 40 of you joined us tonight, and of those, it looks like everybody participated. There weren't any in and outs tonight. Very cool. 26 people got their questions correct, and 14 people missed their questions, so it's 65% to 35%. Very good, folks. And as far as the question of the night, which fictional world or place would you like to visit? It seems to be a lead for, Star Trek. Yeah, they, about 15, almost 16% of people picked Star Trek, and the other answers were pretty much all over the place, although Middle Earth came in strong, and Narnia actually had a few, so. All right, 40 total check-ins. I'd like to thank everybody who participated tonight, with special thanks, of course, to Vicky, K.A. to VKY for logging the net. We now return control of the East Coast Reflector back to you until next week at the same time, when the control voice will take you to the ECR Trivia Net 7-3. Good night, W7F Team Claire.